I remember being very hyped about the first Watch Dogs, but because I was a broke boy and couldn't afford a gaming PC, all I could do was observe from afar the disaster that it turned out to be. The rough launch and tons of negative reviews pretty much erased my excitement for this franchise. I couldn't care less about the second game, but when Legion was announced, it was the first time I kinda went, for a Watch Dogs game. And that's all I've been saying since. Every new showcase they had where a funny British bloke epic narrates over the different archetypes you can recruit in the game has just left me saying, We were shown a new trailer at the latest Ubisoft Forward, which was basically the same thing we've already seen before, but this time it had Stormzy.
I'm gonna get my Aprilla out and do burnouts on your front lawn, and then I'm gonna chuck mud bombs at your nan's windows, you silly bastards!
And it seems like no matter how many trailers Ubisoft drops, none of it is enough to push me past the cautiously curious reaction. Now, everything I say in this video is only my opinion. I don't think the game is going to be objectively bad, and if you enjoy it, I'm happy for you, buddy. But here's why I'm personally not interested in it.
Let's do some recruiting, shall we?
So on paper, the premise is pretty cool. You can recruit literally any NPC you see in the game and use their unique abilities to fight crime or something. So why am I not excited about this insane concept that has never been done before? Well, are you excited? Are you really excited? If you're someone who follows gaming, I bet your initial reaction is also something along the lines of mine. We see these revolutionary promises every year, and yet almost no game manages to live up to the expectations the marketing sets. We're used to AAA studios selling us the vision instead of the actual product. Ubisoft is relying on variety with this one, but my concern is that the more variety you have, the more the content gets spread out. So you kind of sacrifice depth of each thing you can do for the sheer number of things you can do. Unless of course you also put more time into building the content up. I can't find when exactly Legion started development, but I can't imagine it's anything more than the usual few years, or we would have probably known by now. So of course not every NPC you come across will be unique, so how many archetypes are there really? Will all of them really manage to feel unique, or will shooting a paintball gun as the street artist just feel the same as shooting a real gun as a hitman? How many approaches to any given mission will there be? We know this is one of the hardest things to get right, so doesn't having so many unique playstyles make it even harder? If there's dozens of archetypes, will there be dozens of approaches to any given mission, or something more realistic like 3 or 4? Does entering a building from above, below, or the side even make much of a difference and add to the replayability? We don't know the answers to any of these questions, which is why I'm approaching the game with a ton of caution. Like, yes, we've seen the examples they want us to see, and by that I mean the goddamn construction worker that's in every single video, but I wouldn't trust that to be a fully accurate representation of the game. As you play more and more games, you start to get a sense of what is realistically possible and what's not. Every so often a game breaks your expectations, and don't get me wrong, I want Watch Dogs Legion to be that game. I want to be surprised, but this is definitely not a game I'd ever even think about pre-ordering, just because of the fact that the concept leaves so much room for error and it hasn't been proven yet. To be completely honest, even if the concept was proven, there's still something I don't like about this game. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it just doesn't look appealing to me. I'm going to try to divide this feeling that it gives me into story and visuals. I can describe both with the word bland. So first of all, the story. It feels like something I've played a million times before. I know the story isn't the main focus of Watch Dogs, but I have this beef in my head with modern open world games in general, where even the ones with great execution, like for example, and you're gonna hate me for this, but Horizon Zero Dawn, still feel like something we've seen before. Like they don't try to do anything to push the genre forward, and instead play it safe with the proven formula. Watch Dogs Legion's story gives me the same vibes. Like the previous two games, there doesn't seem to be much depth to it. It doesn't seem real enough, like it's trying to actually say something. Here's an example. Listen to how the trailer describes a psychopathic criminal leader who, on top of dealing with drugs, also harvests organs from innocent people she keeps as slaves to sell on the dark web.
Meet Mary Kelly, head of the most powerful crime syndicate in London.
Be sure and spread the word.
She and her goons are using the dark web to sell everything from party pills to people.
Microchip is scary, I know, but I got to keep tracks on my merchandise, don't I?
You made me a slave.
You do not want to ruffle her feathers.
You do not want to ruffle her feathers.
See what I'm talking about? The game doesn't even take its story seriously, so why should I? Her goons, instead of feeling like deranged lunatics, look just like generic enemies with stupid AI that you'll be taking out left and right. I really appreciate it when a game is not afraid to be edgy and stand for something. Like, sure, government oppression bad, gamers rise up. But how about exploring a perspective that not literally everyone agrees with? But then again, I might be asking this of the wrong game. Of course, not every game needs to have a serious story. Also, can a story even feel personal and deep when it has to apply to literally any character you could choose to play as? I don't think I'm kinky enough to get too invested in the roleplay if I'm playing as a grandma just because I like her abilities. But again, the lack of a main protagonist and serious story wouldn't even be a problem if the main selling point of the game was a sandboxy gameplay experience that doesn't really demand a good story. And in a way it is, but according to some people who got to play the game like SkillUp and Young Yeah, the gameplay often feels finicky. Like you have to press a lot of buttons to do certain things, and there's a lot of minigame puzzles that could get repetitive after a while. This is not inherently a negative, it just kind of gets in the way of that freedom to fuck around mindlessly doing whatever you want. So if the story is not serious enough to be the selling point, and the gameplay is not unique enough, then I personally don't see anything that stands out enough about Legion to draw me in. On top of this, people have also mentioned that the missions feel like the classic Ubisoft checklist, where you go from one objective marker to another, completing tasks one after another, just for the sake of completing them. Now to get into the visuals. To reiterate, this is definitely only an opinion. I don't think there's anything objectively wrong with the art direction of Watch Dogs Legion. It just doesn't click with me for some reason. The world looks dirty. The blacks are too black. There's too much contrast and brightness. This entire game looks like how I edit my thumbnails to desperately try to make you finally click on one of my videos. It just feels like it lacks personality, you know, it's too bland. I know they were going for a realistic recreation of London, but I strongly believe you can add personality to anything, whether it's realistic or stylized. You can create a certain mood that spans throughout all parts of the world, which I feel like Legion is lacking. It's not particularly bad, it just doesn't have a mood. This seems to be a common theme throughout this game and most other Ubisoft games as well. Nothing stands out as particularly bad, but nothing blows you away either. Everything is just cool. I think I might feel differently about the atmosphere of the world once I actually get to play the game myself, and I also feel like if you're familiar with London, which I'm not, it's probably going to be way more exciting for you to explore it in a video game. Honestly, the visuals are the main reason why I don't care about this game, but I feel like it's something so subjective that it's not really worth analyzing too much. So if you don't have a problem with how the game looks, that's great. I just needed to include it in the video because this video is about me and my opinions. Okay, so in conclusion, there are some things I like about this game, like for example the fact that they dropped the RPG level system for your characters as well as the enemies. You can also drive a car that shoots micro missiles at innocent drivers who happen to be passing by. And you know your boy is all about pointless murder like a true gamer, but it's kind of a difficult decision to spend $60 on this game when it releases just around 20 days before the launch of Cyberpunk. Thank you so much for bearing with me till the end. My next video is probably going to be about the PS5 event coming up on the 16th. I'll fucking scream if we finally get to see the Harry Potter RPG, but even if we don't, I'm sure there's going to be other stuff that I can talk about. After that, we have more Cyberpunk news with Night City Wire Episode 3 happening on the 18th, so look forward to videos about that. Or if you hate my videos, then don't look forward. Look backward.